Yes. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon to everyone that is watching me. I am Dr. Joshua Isiko. I'm presenting on silage. I'll use a PowerPoint. So let me share my screen. So I'm going to talk about silage or hay production. I'll explain what that means in there. We start with the definition right away. What is silage and what is haylage? Silage is fresh forage which has been fermented. It's as simple as that. You will see. So that's what we call silage. And the haylage is dehydrated forage which has been fermented. That means the difference here is if I cut maize and chop it and ensile it immediately, I am making silage. But if I cut maize and then dehydrate it by drying it for either 2 or 5 days, the common one is what we call stayovers. Stayovers most of the time give us haylage if you ensure them. They are partly dry. And this is done mostly in cases whereby you either want to improve the quality of the fermented product. If there's too much water, it doesn't taste well. So I'll explain later where that applies. What is the science of ensiling? Because the process of making silage or haylage is ensiling. Ensiling is literally the process of creating conditions favorable for fermentation to occur. That's what we call ensiling. It creates an anaerobic environment. That means there is no oxygen. To have all aerobic microorganisms die off and only anaerobic ones survive. The anaerobic lactic acid bacteria produce lactic acid and convert all soluble substances into organic acids. The environment is now acidic. So that's what is happening in the silo in there. And there is no rotting at all because of the acids produced. Have you ever heard somebody say, my alcohol has rotten? Alcohol does not rot. It is simple. This is just because alcohol rarely rots. The acidity, the organic acids cannot allow any aerobic bacteria, which is associated with rotting, to survive in that environment. So that's when you get this opportunity to have your to have your feed preserved. So it's conserving. This was your second probably on the list in conservation of pastures or preservation of pastures or forage. And then what are the good ensiling conditions? Moisture content should be 60 to 85% in that particular forage. If it's too dry, you have to improve it. If it is too moist, you have to reduce it. And then there should be water-soluble carbohydrates in the silo. There should be indigenous fermenting microorganisms. And then the environment should be anaerobic. Anaerobic meaning no oxygen. How to ensure anaerobic conditions? One, chop the forage, because we have seen that anaerobic conditions, the environment is important in creating an environment that ferments the forage. So chop the forage into smaller pieces, not more than 3 centimeters long and wide. That is tiny. Sometimes our chopping equipment do not do that, but the tinier the chops, the better. Compress the forage thoroughly. to squeeze out trapped air. If they are big and just heap it there without compressing, air will be trapped, and still that allows aerobic bacteria to survive, and it affects the quality of fermentation. And sometimes you may find rotten parts in your silo. And then cover it airtight to prevent access to oxygen and water. Oxygen and water, this rainwater, when there's overflow of water into the silo, it gets spoiled. So not only air, but oxygen, but also water. Cover it tight to prevent oxygen and water. How to improve how do you improve? I'm trying to change and move my image. I'll put it down there for you. How to improve moisture content in your silo. Oh, this is interesting. Some forages like stovers may not have enough moisture content. So to improve that moisture content, you can sprinkle water molasses on chocks before compressing it. Also sprinkle sugar dissolved water. You may not have molasses. Buy sugar and then sprinkle on the chocks before compressing. You are improving moisture, but also in a way, instead of sprinkling pure water without anything, it would be better if you add some kind of the substrates that can be converted first into sugars or lactic acid, which is either sugar or molasses. You must know or remember that molasses are byproducts of sugar production. So if you can't get the byproduct, then get the sugar itself. They serve the same purpose. The difference that one is expensive than the other. How to improve microbial population in siding. Some environments, especially portable silos, may not have enough microbial population to produce enough organic acids. But these microbial the microbes, so the microorganisms are ubiquitous. They are everywhere on that pasture, that grass, that legume, that fodder or forage. But sometimes they may not be enough, which affects the quality of silage. Today, people have come up with boosters, fermentation boosters like Molar Plus, Silogist. These have fermenting microorganisms, sometimes harvested from the rumen of ruminants. And then they are multiplied. Sometimes if you apply such kind of boosters, you may even have your silage get ready in less than 21 days. So it takes 21 days for the silage to be ready. But because of this, you can even harvest silage in 7 days or less. So the technologies are now high, but open it after 21 days. So what are some of the types of silos? So types of silo, we have a bunker silo here. On the left corner, this is a bunker silo. It's where my cursor is. A bunker is literally on the surface with walls raised on the sides. You see, it's like a bunker. So it is strong. When people construct, it is strong. Even tractors can ride through. To compress, you can see tractors are compressed. They are heavy to make sure that it's tight. Silage compressed by tractor, you can't harvest it with hand, so just fork. Sometimes you have to bring very strong equipment to cut. And then on my here on my right is the heap silo. Heap silo is the commonest in the countries that have a lot of rain, and it's simple. It is temporary. You don't have to designate an area. You can put it anywhere, either in the garden or whichever. This is very common in Uganda, in Africa, and most of the countries. So heaps, even in Europe, there are many heaps in there. So this is a heap compressed and covered with a cavera, so it's the heap silo. And then another one is a pit silo. It's a pit, just simple, literally pit. You dig a pit, you can modify this to see what this one have done. One thing you've noted that people are not putting silage bare on ground or concrete. They are still underlying it with a polyethylene bag or a tarpaulin to ease covering, or also to improve on the safety and reduce losses due to mix up of soil and the feed. So you are trying to separate soil and feed in a pit. This pit, I must comment, when you are using a pit silo, mark this for me. In countries which have a lot of rain, you need to shelter it. Roof on the top, you put something on the top to avoid, otherwise you will struggle to prevent water from entering this pit, because it will be running, it is heavy, it squeezes itself into the forage. You can see this looks like molasses, you see, it's brownish. So it's adding it on to improve the substrate. So on my right here is the portable silo. A portable silo is basically anything that you can move from one place to another. People are buying. So this is a bag, for instance. They are feeding it, and is the one compressing by stepping on it. You can see. Of course, the compression will not be that good, but at least it will be compressed as much as it has been. The heavier the person, the better. Yeah. So you can see there are many other portable silos. Like this is a can, these containers you see are being sold. The plastic, you can still use it to ensile. Remember, the strength of the container determines how much you would compress. If it is soft, when you compress, just bursts. So Makerere. On my right here, this is like a bale, but a silo. It's a portable silo which has been done by a tractor. In your videos, you will see how this can be done in the field. They chop, but this is commonly haylage because they do it and then partly dry it and do what we call haylage. It's common for haylage. But this is possible. So he knows this is weighing maybe half a ton or 100 kilograms, whichever. Compacts it the way you saw how they were compacting to make the barrels, and then seals it with a polythene bag to avoid oxygen and to also prevent water flow. So another one is this. These are common barrels. They can be bought anywhere, but you can see they are not tight. If you compare it with this one, you see this is tight, while this is loose. It's because when you compress a lot, the man is in, but when you compress a lot, it tears. See, the quality of silage you get from here is not the same as the one you would get from here. They can be transparent. You can see this is a transparent one. In your studying, you'll see, I'll give you a guide of, at least you'll do transparent and follow up the changes that are happening in the silo. Also, the silage quality assessment. It must be sweet smelling aroma. Moisture content between 50 to 70. If it is more moist or dry than that, quality. It's not choking acidic smell. Avoid that. You should avoid choking acidic smell, which sometimes prevents it This can lead to acidosis in the cattle, other ruminants. Advantages of silage can be made from all forages, modest or palatable compared to hay. Can be prepared any time of the year. That is silage. It can be made from all forages. It is tasty and palatable compared to hay. Can be prepared any time of the year. Less space of storage is needed because can you imagine you can harvest 5 acres and put them in a small place, which sometimes when you are baiting may not be possible. Less space, I mean, it can be stored for up to 5 years. For hay, it can be up to 2 years, but silage can go up to 5 years. When it's in there, there is less nutrient loss and more safe due to fermentation. Fermentation kills oxygen-dependent bacteria, so it is safer and highly digestible. Haylage versus hay, more palatable. Haylage is more palatable. Instead of you making hay, you could do haylage and improve the moisture content. Safe, highly palatable, and digestibility is a bit high because fermentation is mimicking the rumeno process. So by the time you drop this silage into the rumen, it is a step ahead compared to when you put hay. How is the equivalence? The equivalence is for every 2 kilograms of silage, you like have this is hay, of hay, of hay. So for every 2 kilograms of silage, it's an equivalent of 1 kilogram of hay. That's the relationship between hay and silage. This is because of moisture, partly. You saw that the moisture for hay is between 14 and 18. Here, the moisture is up to 50% in silage. So you can see that it's almost 2 kilograms, and then plus dry matter, whichever and all that. But how do you maintain the silage during harvest? That's something that's very, very, very important. To prevent spoilage or to make sure you maintain a silage, one of the things you should do, prevent spoilage by rodents. Some rodents spoil the bags. They go cut, because especially silage made from maize, it's very sweet. So they go in there and dig holes, cut it, bite it, and enter, and sometimes even make it a home. Don't be surprised if you find a space that has been set as a home for a rodent, for mice or rats. So harvest from every part of the silo, for instance. I would demonstrate that if this is the silo and you are harvesting, harvest all through this surface, because when this part is exposed and stays there for 2 days, it will grow moss, which will actually bring in another problem of aflatoxinosis on your farm. Also, in regions with heavy rains, cover tight each time you harvest. So when you go to the silo, pick what you are going to use that day. Cover again, that it's tight. Otherwise, it's going to get spoiled. Which forages are suitable for silage? All of forages are suitable for silage. Oh, it is up to you. That's why it is a more friendly form of forage preservation. Why haylage? When do you really need to do haylage? Haylage is recommended for forages with too much moisture, like napier grass. The silage made from napier sometimes is too moist and not tasty. So what people do, they partly dehydrate the napier and then make silage out. Then stay-overs are commonly, they are almost dry, so we call it haylage. So they are not, you can't use, so that you cannot make hay from maize stay-overs, sorghum stay-overs. You can't. They are too hard. So those stay-overs you make hay. You will have to watch a number of videos to appreciate how to make silage. I'll share them with you on the platform. They're in there. Also read the silage manual, making manual for small scale farmers. And then, yeah. So you enjoyed the talk. You have appreciated the science of silage. Silage can be ready in about 21 days, but if you put boosters, it can be less than 21 days. It will be on the safe side. Always prepare your silage ahead. Don't rush. If you need pasture tomorrow, then don't say it, because we need some time to ferment very well. The better the fermentation, the better the taste, and the better the conservation, because then you allow the silage to produce enough acids, organic acids, for preservation. So do not rush. You will learn a number of equipments. You will see them in the video, but you also learn some in the mechanization of what is required in production of hay. We have the chopper. You will see it in one of the videos. We have tractors. You see them in one of the videos. You can use pangas. You can use drums to compress. You will see it in one of the videos. You can use a fork to harvest. I will share that video with you on the platform. So the more mechanized you get, the better the quality of silage. That's what you should know. And there are many things you can use. So allow me pause here and be able to let you watch a number of things. Bye-bye.